in California fail to protect their own citizens and law enforcement. Oh my God, this has never happened before. While mobs attack federal agents and ICE officers, California just sides with the criminals, which they've been doing for a very, very long time. Trump's just trying to protect the federal officers from being attacked at the failure of the state. And he's doing that by deploying 2,000 National Guards to protect them, and I support that. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. California politicians only care about two groups of people: illegals and criminals. They'll defend them at all costs. Everyone else, nah. I'm like, let me get this straight. You're going to come here illegally. You're going to wave your flag. You're going to assault our officers. You're going to graffiti our city, and you're going to set cars on fire. You're going to do all this? No. Y'all got to go.
I think she's got the right idea. Hey, everyone, welcome in. Robert Imbriali here. It is Monday, June 9th already. Boy, the year is going by so quickly, and what a weekend it has been. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. I'm sure you have. It's hard to kind of avoid, the things that have been going on. And we're talking Los Angeles, right? And we're going to talk a lot about California today. But before I go there, I want to let you know that this isn't just about California, right? It always starts in California. California is where it begins. But as you're going to see as we go through this today, it's going to go nationwide. So why it's important to pay attention to California. This to me felt like a trial run. It felt like, hey, let's get the ball rolling. Let's do something. And I think a lot of people who were organizing this actually maybe a little bit surprised by how well it worked, right? They got tens of thousands of people out there, protests in every corner of Los Angeles. Not only Los Angeles, but surrounding towns as well. And as you'll see as we go through this, copycat crimes in other towns, small towns like I'm in as well. So it's going to spread clearly, and we have to look at this from the perspective of what's in store, what's coming next, and I think that's probably where we want to go with this today. Before we get in, I want to just thank our sponsor, Verity Metals, Matt Geiger. Right now would be a good time to get into gold or silver with your IRA or 401k, or maybe just you want to buy some coins, whatever. Matt can help. www.veritymetals.com/renegade, or call him at 480-717-9081. And we thank Matt for sponsoring our show. It makes a big difference when we have a sponsor on that can help. Certainly important to have somebody you rely on and somebody you can trust, and Matt is certainly one of those people. All right. Deep breath, my friends. Deep breath. It is Monday, the weekend after the craziness that happened in Los Angeles. And I don't know if you've been following us on Renegade Media on the Telegram channel. We posted a bunch of videos and things that we were finding that, the mainstream media doesn't really cover all that much. They still, CNN until late last night was still calling it a peaceful protest as the fires were burning in the background and so on and so forth. It just reeks of something that is very coordinated, very planned, right? And certainly in any crowd, you have your agitators, and certainly we had them here. And then everyone just kind of follows the leader, if you will. Oftentimes when you have big groups like that, they always look for who are the agitators. And if you take those people out, then the rest kind of back off, right? So it's not like you have to arrest the entire crowd. You just have to cut the head off of it, right? Who's driving it? Now, kudos to our side. On January 6th, we didn't take the bait, right? The agitators were there. They were paid. They were placed. They were FBI. They were whoever. And they were trying to set something off, and we didn't take the bait. Gosh, it was 2 million patriots there. That could have really set off massive, massive riots. And it didn't, right? We were calm. We understood. This side, not so much. You're starting to see them, in there with their Mexican flags, and they're burning the Waymo, and they're burning the, their detention centers. They're going after them, breaking the windows of the police headquarters. And throwing rocks over the overpass onto the police vehicles below, trashing them, setting them on fire. A very different game. This is not a peaceful protest. This is something very different, and we have to look at this and say, okay, let's sort of dig in here a little bit and say, what is it going to mean for us as we go forward? So one of the things that I caught early on was we are clearly at a turning point, right? And I think all of us, we can agree that we've been looking forward to getting past this, and this is the turning point. And we know that if you bring in 10 million, 13 million, some say as many as 22 million came across the border in the 4 years that the Biden regime was in power. That's a lot of people, right? That's a lot of people. Now the challenge that we have is, remember, they didn't actually come in illegally. They were invited in. They were given a phone. They were given a credit card, right? They were given a place to live. They were given free trip to wherever they wanted to go in the United States, any town. Pick a town, we'll send you there. We'll pay for it. And when you get there, we'll give you housing. We'll give you a card, a credit card, a debit card, where we'll pay for your food, right? And they gave them a court date 10, 15 years down the road that they were scot-free. They were let in. So they're fighting back now. They're going, wait a minute. You guys let us in. You opened the door. You did this, and now you're kicking us out. So you can see the pushback, right? This is not going to be easy. By any stretch, this is not going to be easy. And of course, when you're rounding up so many people, you're going to round up people who, probably shouldn't have been rounded up. Maybe they were in the process of becoming. Who knows, right? We don't know what the deal was, but we're gonna end up in this amount of chaos. It's going to be good and it's going to be bad, and there's going to be things that we don't want to see and things that we do want to see. So I think we've been waiting for this, as a society. We've certainly been waiting for this for a long time. We wanted to hit this turning point. We wanted things to change direction. We really wanted to get, through this and get our country back. Literally, this is what we've been preaching ever since the 2020 election was stolen, right? That's what we want to do. We want to get our country back. We have to clean it out. We have to get rid of the people that are here and shouldn't be here. Yeah, I know they were invited in. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but you've been disinvited, right? It's like you're invited to the party. You show up at the party. You got the bottle of wine, the flowers. You're all excited about being there, and then at the door, you've been here 15 minutes. Thanks for the wine. Thanks for you got to go. We don't want you here anymore. That hurts. No question, it hurts. So it's not going to be easy. But this is what we're in. And like I said, the chaos is what is going to get us to where we want to get to. Now, it's not going to be pretty. And you can see over the weekend, it's not pretty. But here's the challenge what I have of what I saw in Los Angeles. Los Angeles Police Department were told to stand down. After everything that happened, when all the dust settled this morning, there were 10 arrests on the weekend. 10. Count them on two hands. 10. Now, what happens when you don't push back on this? Right? It emboldens these people. And that's what we saw. Then emboldened them. Now they're even bolder. Now they're like, well, we can do this. We're not going to get in trouble. We can set cop cars on fire. We can spit in their face. We can, all the things that they were doing, shoving and pushing and all the things that they were shooting things at the police, and nobody gets arrested. They're emboldened. Clearly they're emboldened. You know it, if you don't discipline your child, what happens? They ask for more and more and more, and they push the boundary. They push the boundary until you set the boundary and say, okay, no more. This is as far as you go, and there'll be a consequence if you go further. There was no consequence on the weekend. A big challenge. I have a big challenge with that, because if you don't have any consequences, they're going to continue. And now they're emboldened. They're like, yeah, look what we got away with this time. Next time we're going to go even further. Now I hear that there are more protests planned for tonight, both in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and other towns. Compton, I think, was another one. So we hear a lot of this is going to continue. So we can't look at it and say, well, it's a one weekend thing. That's why I say it's not just California. This is going to be throughout the summer. Now, some of the experts are saying this will start to turn, the tide will start to turn in September of this year. I know you don't want to hear that. The tide will start to turn sometime in September of this year. That's a long way off, right? Gosh, we're only June, August, July, August, September. That's 90 days out before we start to get a handle on this. So we're in for a very hot summer. is what we have to look at. So Newsom, just a horrible governor, worst governor ever. Hopefully we get Lewis in there as the next governor of California, because boy, oh boy, we need someone with some common sense. This guy is off the rails in so many ways. He went this weekend, and he is very upset that President Trump federalized the National Guard and sent them in to assist during these riots. So he sent a letter to Trump and said, hey, you have to rescind that. This is California. You can't do that. And it's like, of course he can. Federal Trump's state anytime, right? So if Trump federalized the National Guard, he has the right to do it. Newsom is out there protecting the rights of not the citizens, not the ones who are here legally, not the tax-paying citizens. He's protecting the rights of the illegals who don't actually have any rights because they're not here legally. Constitution doesn't apply to them. All the laws don't apply to them. They're breaking laws and murdering and stuff like that. Of course, those do, but they don't get the benefit of, what we get here as American citizens. So he is the governor of the illegals and of the criminals. That's who he's defending. Does it get any crazier than that? Really? Okay, his term ends next year. Not this November. Next November, his term will end. And finally, we can put it to rest. I hope we get him out of there sooner. We've been trying. We've tried to recall him. We had 2.5 million signatures the last recall attempt, and he defeated it. Oh, yeah, sure he did. Right? He didn't get elected, I don't believe. Honestly, the elections here are so upside down, and the systems they've got are so incomprehensible. You get to the point where it's just like, none of it matters, right? It's just the elections really doesn't matter. So hopefully that'll get resolved. That'll get fixed before we get into the next election season. It has to. Otherwise, this is going to continue. We'll continue to be on the bullet train toward communism in this state, as we were nationally before Trump got in for his second term. We were in really bad shape. We were headed in the wrong direction. So, we look at what's coming up and, want to look forward because, what's going to happen? We got a week ahead of us. It's only Monday. What's going to happen? Everyone wants to know, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? There's a couple of things. June 14th, there's a big military parade planned in Washington, D.C., as you guys have been hearing. We've been posting about it. We've been seeing a lot about it. It's going to be pretty big. It is a celebration of the 250th anniversary of the Army. And it's also President Trump's birthday. It's also Flag Day. So a big patriotic day planned. It'll be amazing. Now, it's interesting that we're seeing a lot of military vehicles being trucked into D.C., much more than you would need for a parade. Videos I've been seeing, kind of interesting. It's like, do you need 50 tanks for a parade? Probably not, right? You see that kind of thing in Korea. You see that kind of thing in Japan or China, right? They parade their military vehicles out. They do all that. We don't do that here in America. It's kind of a very different approach. So under the guise of a parade, all these things are going into Washington, D.C. Could there be more to the story? Of course there could be. Can I speculate? Well, I could speculate. I'm like you. I hope there's more. I hope that is the start of the finally getting to the point where we're pushing back and trying to really take things back. I don't know. We never know, right? We get anticipated. We get excited about things. We put dates on the calendar. We mark it. This is the day things are going to shift, and nothing happens again and again. So this could be something. It could be nothing. Eyes are open, right? We want to pay attention to it. But what we also know now is that new protests are planned, not only in Los Angeles, but they're planned nationally. Yeah, really. Let me show you the map here real quick. Kind of interesting here. Let's do that. There's the map right there. So if you look at all those blue areas, those are all the cities that these protests are planned. These are the counter protests to Trump's June 14th parade. So the whole country's going to be out. Now, patriots are going to be out. Certainly, we're going to be celebrating. We're going to be all excited. There's no question. And then now you've got the counter protests. What is that going to lead to? What do you think? What do you think they're trying to do here? Convergence, right? They want us to clash. That's what they want to do. So we got to be very careful. That's why I said, this is coming up. I think, the most important thing is to stay out of the fray. If you can help yourself, stay out of it. I know, just some of us are just, we want to get out there. We want to, make some noise and do something. We're so frustrated, but yeah, maybe that's probably not the way to go. So these protests that are planned nationally, they're coordinated, they're funded. There is a website that they kind of is nokings.org, I think is that the one? Nokings.org is the website, and you can go there, and at the top there you can see if you put in your zip code, it'll tell you where the protests are in your area, who the coordinator is, and how to contact them to be part of the protest. So it is well organized. This is not just like a couple of people talking on Twitter, right? This is a really well organized event. And look at those dots. They're kind of like everywhere across the United States. Every major city, it looks like, will be subject to these kind of protests. This is the I had to go to nokings.org. I want to go see the website. Let me put it up here larger for you so you can see it. Nokings.org, and you can see the date of nationwide Day of Defiance, June 14th. The first one there is let's see. I can't read it. It's too small to read. But the first ones are in California, but they're all over the country. You can find places that will have protests. So you may want to go there, nokings.org. You may just want to go and just see what's planned for your area, your city. So you have a little bit of a heads up, right? It's not because you want to participate. You just want a heads up to see, what you can expect. I think there's going to be some interesting stuff happening. I think one of the things that we may look at is more civil unrest, no question. I think that's going to be a big part of it. But, the vandalism is also going to be a big challenge. If they're getting away with it and they're not being punished for it, they're going to continue. Right? And you saw that last night in Los Angeles. They were vandalizing a lot of stores, smashing the windows, smashing the doors. Everyone runs in, grabs everything. All the store's inventory is gone within a few minutes. And that's a big deal, right? That can put a lot of businesses put a lot of little small businesses, they could be out of business because they don't have any inventory. They pay for that inventory, by the way. That's their money that they put into that. They have to buy that for it to be there. And when it gets stolen like that, maybe the insurance covers it, maybe it doesn't. Pay attention to that kind of thing. So they're coordinated, they're funded. The protesters are hired, or at least the agitators in the protests are hired. Other ones just kind of join in, right? When they see there's no punishment to happen, yeah, you know what? They're going to just join in. And there's a bail fund available. And remember, years ago, Kamala Harris was behind this. She was raising money for a bail fund for the protesters. Well, they're doing it again. So if they get arrested, probably the 10 that were arrested over the weekend, my guess is they're probably out already today, back on the street, ready for the next protest. One fellow suggested you look at all the cell phone numbers that were there and match them up to previous protests, BLM, Antifa, that kind of thing, and see if the same people are showing up. And a lot of people are positing, it's probably the same group, probably the same people showing up. We saw pallets of bricks being dropped all over the place, random. All of a sudden, there's a pallet of bricks on the street over here. There's no construction anywhere. Why would that be the case? Well, it's for the protests. So, what I'm going to say is just pay attention to your area, pay attention to your surroundings. We're getting into it. This is the fight that we knew was coming. It really is. And we're getting to that point now where it's certainly heating up. And when you have the politicians on the side of the protesters, it isn't going to stop. Look. Newsom wants us to protest. Look, this congresswoman or this senator wants us to protest. They want us to get loud. They want us to go, and people are going to follow that. They're going to listen to the authorities, right? The people who they perceive to be the authorities. They're going to listen to them. So they're going to get loud. They're going to get out there, and they're going to make a big stink up over things. So you look at it from that perspective, you go, we're in for an interesting summer here. Really. So that's what I'm expecting, calling it the Summer of Love 2.0. Remember the Summer of Love we had before, which, was vandalism and fires in every town. We had quite a few areas here in San Diego that were vandalized heavily. Banks that were burned to the ground and, stores that were broken into, on and on and on, the looting, all of it. And we didn't see much in the way of arrests. We didn't see much in the way of pushback. So that emboldened these people, like I said, to come back and do it again. So here we are. We're on the precipice of June 14th. It looks like that may be the kickoff to whatever the next phase of this is. These a lot of paid agitators for sure. So what can you do? That's always a good question. Right. I would say the first thing you can do is stay away from those crowds. Don't get involved, because it looks like, I don't know this for a fact, but it looks like they're trying to get patriots and the protesters on the same street so that there's clashes and there's major brawls and that kind of thing. I think you want to stay out of that. I think the best approach isn't to get involved there and let this thing, play out the way it's going to play out, if that's what's going to happen. I would just keep in mind that this is not organic. These are paid agitators. They're professional. They know what they're doing. They know how to take your kneecaps out, if you will. So you probably don't want to be playing there. Let the authorities handle it, if they will. I think Trump is trying to usurp everything that's going on here in California, and boy, they are doing their darndest to block everything that Trump is doing, because it seems like they want these protests. They want this to expand. They want it to get worse. They want it to make Trump look bad, and they want to blame him. I mean, the first thing they said to ask Newsom, what do you think about this? The first sentence out of his mouth, well, Trump. Wait a minute. Trump doesn't run California. You do. It's your deal, dude. And right away, they pass the blame. Karen Bass, the same thing, the mayor of Los Angeles. Right away, it's Trump's fault. This is Trump's fault. So you can see the game plan is to make this get bigger, have more of these protests in more cities, have chaos everywhere, and blame Trump so that people will turn against Trump. Well, if we look at the numbers today, it looks like the opposite is happening. It's backfiring on them already. Trump's numbers are up today. People approve of what he's doing. People approve of the deportations. People approve that he sent in the National Guards and had the Marines on standby ready to go. So it's kind of backfiring. People are starting to see through the narrative, starting to see through the game, right? And, kudos to all of you who watch this. Kudos to all of us for, being on top of it and paying attention. We have to. We have to be able to see through it. And like I said last week, you got to ask a lot of questions. So keep asking questions. Keep asking questions. And if you don't have the answers, keep digging till you find the answers. And you'll start to see the narrative will start to dissolve before your very eyes. So what I would say is heads up. Keep your head up all the time. Keep your eyes open. Pay attention to your surroundings. We don't know. Just because you're not in an area where there's a protest doesn't mean there's not a copycat in the area. Like I said, we saw that here in this tiny little town that I live in. There was a storefront that was smashed in on the weekend. Why would they do that here? And there's not what? And it's just a copycat crime. It's like, oh, they're doing it there. We're going to do it here too. Hey, it'd be fun. Let's take a rock and throw it through a window, right? Or let's vandalize a car. Let's set a car on fire. So there's copycats. They'll see it. They'll realize, hey, no one's getting punished for it. Why not? And I think that's the danger that we're, going to experience. So pay attention. Just be aware of your surroundings. Don't hide in your house and be afraid. That's not the goal, but just be aware. We have a group on Facebook for our town, and people post on there when things, go off the rails a little bit. And so, we saw a lot of those kind of posts this weekend. There were a lot of little things that were maybe not so little sometimes. People being arrested. There was some crime, and this is a town where there usually isn't very much of that, you know what I mean? So it was kind of shocking to a lot of people to see it. But, the copycats are out there. So your town, my town, everyone's town, we just need to pay attention to, what's going on. Because you never know. And, it's better safe than sorry. And if nothing happens, well, at least you were prepared. And if something happens, at least you're prepared, right? I always tell people there's no downside to being prepared. If you buy extra supplies, if you buy extra water, if you buy extra food, if you invest in gold or silver, there's no downside here. You're just preparing for something that may or may not happen. And if it doesn't happen, you got food, you got water, you'll probably use it anyway. You got the gold, you got the silver, you could sell it. It'll probably rise in value from what we're seeing. Silver's way up today. Why? Because anytime there's unrest, right? People turn to what are the ones, investments that are less impacted by the ups and downs, and it is precious metals. They're not going to see them drop a lot. If they drop at all, it drops a little bit, and they come right back. They kind of hold their value over time. It's been proven over hundreds of years that gold and silver hold their value. So if you're in that space or you're thinking, gee, what should I do? Maybe that's what you want to do. Get a little bit of gold, I did. I got in because I know. And if I don't end up needing it, I just sell it back. Convert it back to cash again. When the crazy is over. We'll know more probably by the end of the summer. We'll kind of get a better footing. But it's going to be a difficult summer. It's going to be a very challenging summer, I think, ahead because we've got all these protests planned, and they're going to be in every major city, and they're going to be in a lot of the smaller cities. Like I said, we've got copycats that'll be out and about as well. So it's going to get a little tricky to navigate. We'll get through it. I firmly believe that we're going to get through it. Here's the goal. Take care of your home. Take care of your family. That's number one. Number two is a little bit more is, keep a lookout on your neighborhood. Create a little neighborhood watch. We've been talking about this for years. Keep doing it now. Probably more important than ever. Just be aware of what's happening. And then, from there, you decide what else you can do. What else? You have social media. You have tools. You could share what's going on. You could find out what other people are seeing going on. And I think all of these things are real important. Because keeping us informed, keeping us on top, and letting us know what's happening is an important thing for us to do. We'll do it, and we'll make sure everyone else is informed as well. And I want you to know that as rough as it gets, I'm not saying it's going to be horrible. I'm not going to say, I don't know. But I want you to be prepared. I want you to have the mental fortitude. And I always say remain strong and also flexible, right? Strong, there's nothing going to happen on my watch, but remain flexible that in case things get a little bit too crazy where you are, know that, you may need to get in the car and go somewhere for a day or two until it cools down a little bit. That's okay. Not the end of the world to do that. So remain strong but flexible. And I want you to know, I firmly believe we're going to get through this. I really do. I don't think the other side really has much of a chance. And how do you know? Well, there's some signals. The signal is Trump's numbers are up based on what happened over the weekend, right? Most of America supports it. We have this group of people who are not Americans for the most part. They were invited into the country, and they're trying to take it over, is really what they're trying to do. As the American population, are we really going to put up with that? Are we really going to allow that to happen? We've got Trump as commander-in-chief. I don't think so. That he immediately went to get the National Guard in there and then have the Marines on standby. He's not playing. So we may see military in the street. We've been talking about that for 5 years now, that may happen. It may come to that. Maybe that's where we are. Maybe that's the turning point that we're at now. I don't know. It's kind of looking like that. If I look at trying to put all the pieces together, that's kind of what I'm seeing. So maybe it's going to go through a period of that. Maybe it's going to be a little challenging. We've got, like I said, a lot of people here who don't love this country, who want to be here for all the benefits, but don't love anything about America, don't love the Americans, don't love the white people, don't love, you know what I mean? So we'll have to just get, be on top of it and make sure we hold our leaders accountable. And like here in California, we've got to flush our leaders down because they are really useless. They are really not on the side of the Americans here at all. And it's, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we will find a way to clean that up. It's real important. So I want you to do this. I want you to stay connected to everything that's going on. Pay attention to it, but don't be obsessed about it. It's easy to get obsessed and I'm not getting off the feeds. I'm gonna every story, every video. No. Check in. A couple of minutes in the morning, a couple of minutes in the afternoon, maybe before bed, and that's it. And you don't have to be obsessed about it. Just keep an eye out. Just be aware. That's all we're asking right now, is just be aware of what's going on. And if there is an opportunity where you can step up and do something, that's the time to do it. Now, all of us have social media. I keep talking about this. Social media is a powerful, powerful tool. If we didn't have X, if we didn't have Rumble, if we didn't have these things, we'd be in real trouble. But we've got these tools, so let's use them. Let's make sure that when you're watching a video and you like it, give it a thumbs up. Put a comment, not just in the chat, but put a comment on the video because that helps the algorithm. If it's on X, do the same thing. Give it a heart, give it a share, right? Post a comment on it. All those things help more people to see it. And really, if there's good content, something that's important, more people should see it. I'm not saying that because, man, I'd love my content to go viral. you know what? If it goes viral, that's great. I'm here to help. That's my job. My role is I'm here to support, help and support. That's what I do. So if you can do that, stay connected but not obsessed, you'll be okay. This, my friends, is our generation's big challenge, right? Every generation's got a big challenge, right? And generations past, it was World War II, then it was Vietnam, and this is ours. This is where we are. This generation, we haven't had it. It's been very easy for us. We've kind of glided through the last 40 years or so with no major challenge, but now we've got one. We're going to prevail. I guarantee we're going to prevail. I really believe, we're not going to step back and let the country fall apart. I think we've got a really great commander-in-chief, and we'll start to see more and more people stepping up and, holding the line. And I think that's what's going to be required. We're going to get there. We really are. But, I think we've got some challenging times ahead. Not impossible to get through. I mean, we're resilient. We're tough. We're strong. We're flexible. We'll make it happen. We will. I have full faith in that. All right, I want to leave you with one thing that I found on the internet. I thought that was kind of hilarious. This is a doctor. Somebody asked him a question. I've heard that cardiovascular exercise, let's make it bigger for you so you could read it too. I've heard that cardiovascular exercise can prolong life. Is this true? So the doctor answers, heart only good for so many beats, and that it. Don't waste on exercise. Everything wear out eventually. Speeding up heart not make you live longer. It like saying you extend life of car by driving faster. Want to live longer? Take nap. Great advice. All the exercise people are not going to like that one, I know, but you want to live longer. Take a little bit of a nap. I actually got a good night's sleep last night, so I'm feeling good today. I hope you are as well. Guys, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching today. And, we'll come back and pop in from time to time as things pop. But if not, we'll definitely be back next Monday. And follow us on Telegram at Renegade Media. And you'll keep on top of, like I said, don't get obsessed about it, but just keep on top of what's going on. We'll be posting there. And should anything be important, I'll come back on. I'll do another video and let you guys know what's happening. But now you're up to date. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're feeling positive, because I am. I know we're going to get through this. I know, chaos is part of change. It always is part of it. There's no way to avoid it. And we're in the chaos phase now. There's no question. And we've got our work cut out for us, but I have full faith. We will do what is necessary to get to where we need to go. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll look forward to seeing you real soon. Lots of love to you.